Hi, this is Elena Tregub with Ukraine's Insight. Is there any information war between Russia and Ukraine? In Western coverage of Ukraine's crisis, we often hear expressions like, who is an honest broker here? This is propaganda war on both sides. Whom should we really trust? And so on. I would like to address that by saying that there is no real information war between Russia and Ukraine. Instead, there is information aggression of Russia towards Ukraine. Here's why. Number one, in terms of power, Russia and Ukraine are not comparable. Russia has much bigger information, financial, military, political resources than Ukraine. Ukraine has no channels like Russia Today that are being broadcasted in Western capitals in English, spreading, the official messages from the Kremlin, and sometimes even spreading not propaganda but explicit fabrications and falsifications of facts that are being happening in Ukraine. So Ukraine simply does not have those resources because financially, of course, we know Kremlin is much more powerful and can invest in taking care of its image abroad. Secondly, Ukrainian state does not have any clear information policy. Look, Ukraine didn't even care about Russian channels being broadcasted on its own territory in Crimea, in south and eastern Ukraine. And those channels, they were even covering the events on Maidan, lying about what was happening in Kiev. And as a result, citizens of southern Ukraine, of Crimea, they do not understand even what happened on Maidan because they were watching Russian channels covering events in their own country. So the information security was completely neglected by Ukrainian state. Unfortunately, this is what's happened. My third point is that if we're talking about information war, we see one country is attacking another country and vice versa. We don't see this happening in case of Russia-Ukraine. For example, Russia is attacking Ukraine by saying that there are a lot of neo-Nazis in Ukraine and that they are a threat to security of citizens. So Ukraine defends by saying, no, we don't have neo-Nazis, it's not true, Jews are supporting Euromaidan, we have half of Russian speakers on Maidan, neo-Nazis are not in the government, and so on. Instead, if we had information, real information, where Ukraine should attack Russia by saying that indeed Russia has much more neo-Nazis than Ukraine, and people who were following Russia before, researchers, scholars, journalists, they know that there is a huge ultra-right movement in Russia, much bigger and much more powerful than in Ukraine, and hate crimes in Russia have very high rates. So Ukraine is not doing that. So there is no response in these terms. And my last point is that Russia is an authoritarian country, and it is much more effective than a democracy in coiling one coherent message. Because we see that, for example, Russia has this message about neo-Nazis, fascists, and it keeps repeating it on every possible channel, by every possible expert, by all possible opinion makers. Whereas Ukraine is a democracy, and in Ukraine there are different opinions about what's happening, many voices, and I will bring you one recent example. Yesterday there was an episode when deputies from one right-wing party came to a media manager that used to work during Yanukovych regime and keeps working now as the head of the national state TV station. And they attacked him physically. They were threatening him like with their fists, basically, and they wanted him to sign his resignation. So there was a video of this incident online, and journalists in Ukraine and civil society and other political parties immediately started to criticize those right-wing politicians for behaving like hooligans, and exposing them on every possible media channel, and telling them that they should sign their resignation as members of parliament, because they bring some disgrace to Ukrainian society. And this is how democracy works. And unfortunately, this democracy is seen as a weakness by Russia, because I'm sure that this video that is being now spread by all Ukrainian activists and media professionals will be used by Russian propaganda machine, by Dmitry Kiselyov, who is the top speaker of Russian Federation, to demonstrate that indeed there are fascists and neo-Nazis in Ukraine who are threatening citizens. But he will not tell that, first of all, they are not violent, they don't have any weapons, they are just hooligans. And secondly, he will not tell its viewers that Ukrainian society itself is criticizing them and wants them to leave. So that's basically how things work. Unfortunately, world is a very cynical place where we can see the stronger one prevails, and one should understand that when comparing Russia and Ukraine.